You read the Bible, Brett?
Yes.
Well, there's this passage I got memorized. Sort of fits this occasion. Ezekiel 25:17. The path of the righteous man is beset on all sides by the iniquities of the selfish and the tyranny of evil men. Blessed is he who in the name of charity and goodwill shepherds the weak through the valley of darkness, for he is truly his brother's keeper and the finder of lost children. And I will strike down upon thee with great vengeance and furious anger those who attempt to poison and destroy my brothers. And you will know my name is
TC and Jake.
when I lay my vengeance upon thee.
Poll question of the day. Oh, god damn it. Give me a second.
Hot start. Hot start.
Poll question of the day. Poll question of the day. What's the hardest month number to remember? 888-787-1310.
I like it.
In your opinion, hardest month number to remember. Do you think December's a 13?
I mean, I think the easy play would be like people that it's kind of like whenever you ask about the postal state abbreviations, people who don't know that Alaska's
That's a hard one.
AK, but
No one doubts that.
But the thing about it though is that like people who think it's AL, what do they think Alabama is, right? So there's some you can use a little deductive reasoning
I
there.
didn't even think about Alabama. I always fuck up Arkansas. I think that Arkansas is AK.
Okay. Because it's similar to Alaska, and that it's not the first two. Yeah. Arkansas. Yeah. So using that, I would say you would probably go June, July.
June, July is a good one.
Just in the sense that, but I actually think it would be harder to remember if they were further apart. Because you've committed to memory
they
the
are
idea.
the JJ. Yeah.
So on its face, you might say, all right, well, back-to-back months, that's going to be tough to they sound similar. 6, 7. I'll tell you, I'll give you this one, and I don't even fucking know the answer to this right now. Month that it's hardest to remember the number of days in it.
Well, 30 days has September, April, June, and November. February's got 28, the rest have 31. 30 days hath September, April, June, and November.
I've never heard that before.
Oh, really?
Never heard that. I was too focused on Caracas,
gone to Plano schools.
Caracas, Venezuela, and Quito, Ecuador.
Yeah, no. I got
Peru.
that one. I mean, I do have to do it every time. I don't know off the top of my head. Like, if you ask me, you will watch as I, repeat that in my head. But I do have that.
Every single time March 31st comes around, I'm like, whew, look at you. You hot son of a bitch.
Look at us.
I don't know.
Who thought we'd be here? Not me.
Somehow I had you pegged as a 30, when in fact there are none, right?
There's plenty of 30s.
What are the 30s?
All
I don't
the
know
ones
any of
that
this.
aren't April, June, and 30 days has September, April, June, and November. So 30s are September, April, June, and November.
Maybe that's... See, June and July shouldn't be allowed to have different numbers of days.
That sounds right.
Yeah, I think that.
Yeah, that's fair.
We pretty much all agree on that. Yeah, I don't know.
My by far hardest month number to remember is April. I feel like 4 should be March, and April should certainly be 5. I feel that conviction in my heart.
No,
Why?
I don't like that. I don't like that at all. I always liked the May 5 because then the 5 to me signified it's over. School.
I do have to always do well, of course, dude, it is 5 because June is 6, May becomes more June, but I gotta do that entire math every single time I'm naming a podcast file, for example. What's that?
Cory Booker tweet.
Yeah, no, I probably
believe in you. I know this is a problem you can handle.
You're probably right.
I should have, not necessarily sure, given what's going on with South Lake school districts, that this really would have popped at the TEA level. Mm-hmm. but I should have tried to really get in there and push my Middle Eastern capital song.
Okay, Middle Eastern capital song.
Yeah, I think we've done this on the podcast before. I mean, you can do it with any region if you use the same tune.
Yeah, that sounds right.
And it's fun, There's fun little, like, Baghdad, Iraq. Baghdad, Iraq. Tehran, Iran. Tehran, Iran. Damascus, Syria. Damascus, Syria. Or no, that's Lebanon. No, I forgot. This has been, like,
No, you're right.
10 years since I wrote this. Oh, Beirut, Lebanon. Beirut, Lebanon.
There you go.
Really start popping, Cairo, Egypt.
Is
Cairo,
Southlake
Egypt.
looking to inform their students about the Arab world more?
Well, I just, you're not aware of this whole diversity fight?
You know the answer to whether or not I'm aware of anything.
Well, no, I mean, this is it. I
remember I've seen something
Yeah.
of like people screaming at the top of their lungs, like, "Don't you fucking tell my kids anything."
Well, it's popped.
How dare you fucking make them learn?
Much harder than that.
Okay.
So the program is called the CCAP.
The CC stands for Chinese Communist.
Cultural Competence Action Plan. And so they were about to adopt this plan, and then in fact, a group of parents who were against it, citing this as leftist, socialist, Marxist diversity training, raised tons of money from political action groups, filed a suit to get this blocked, got the temporary restraining order. And this all happened, like, I think late last year. And now the latest development is 2 of the school board members, including the president, were actually arrested
Oh my God.
on Monday.
For what, please?
So these 2 people were in favor of the CCAP passing. And these people who raised all this money, according to what I've been told, over $1 million in political action committee donations, were able to hire like a private eye, forensic people to collect forensic data.
Oh, what giant pieces of shit.
And got these 2 people arrested on like a fairly arcane application of the like meeting outside of quorum law. Like, because they had texted at all. And apparently they were able to classify this as like that they were.
Ooh, as someone who has received Texas Open Meetings Act training, I don't think that is going to stand up.
What's not the charge?
Yeah.
Oh no, it's definitely not. They knew that. They were out of jail in 5 minutes. Like it was
Like,
It was purely a
how is
show.
it not a scandal the police has going along with this?
I guess like once the charge is filed, the judge looks at it and says, I guess by the letter of the law, this does fit this. The Morning News, whenever they wrote it up, said, they spoke to a First Amendment attorney. They're like, this is insane. Like, nobody's ever applied this like this. And see, how come people don't get mad at you for drinking water?
Because it doesn't have ice.
Oh, that's what it is?
It's the ice against the wall. I mean, maybe they do. They don't say, they've never called out your name.
Oh, no. They just don't tag you on those.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I get plenty of water heat.
I mean, that one's,
my own.
it is obvious because you can tell who's talking whenever you hear the ice. You
Yeah.
can't talk and slush ice at the same time. But,
Also because I'm, when you're clanging and banging in the Yeti.
yeah.
But yeah, so these 2 people got arrested on Monday. I'm so happy to get to tell you about this. And they actually
This is fun. I like this story.
appeared at the school board meeting that night because
Hell yeah.
they were out like 10
Dude.
minutes later. It was like a $25, I don't even know if you would call that a bond. You know what I mean? They were there that night.
Our friend Harper once, when he quit a job, I think it was just his phone, but I like to imagine that he somehow commandeered a boombox to play Trap Queen for his own walkout music. I like to imagine them fucking walking into the school board meeting just like, what up, bitch, I'm here.
Yeah. Well, they basically did that just without, what's Fetty Wap, right?
Yeah.
Rapper with one
Yeah.
eye. Who Corby says is a great golfer.
Really?
Yeah, they had like a Topgolf type driving range set up at a Super Bowl, I think in Houston, and he said Fetty Wap was just striping them.
Hell yeah. That's delightful. My top Fetty Wap memory is I did not see his show at Hangout, but I ate a slice of pizza near it. And that is kind of the dopest thing about going to a music festival is the shows that you don't care about but can
go
hear.
ahead. I got a funnel cake. But
Yeah,
I'm still
just-
gonna vibe with it though.
Just kind of fucking sitting on a bench. I could see the screen of him like doing it. It's the best pizza restaurant in the world.
Boy, you ain't lying. So yeah, they got these two people arrested. They show up at the board meeting, and then the two takes on this are, on one side you have one of the moms, of course. Dads just don't really get tied up in this shit too much. One of the moms.
I won't speculate as to why.
Yeah, one of the moms was like, "I can't believe we have these criminals here in our midst." You know,
Jesus Christ.
They have the audacity to come to the meeting tonight.
Tell me the statute they broke. Then we can have this fucking talk.
Yeah, walk me through the precedent of it.
You're
too.
a fucking criminal. You're criminally ignorant of the fucking rules, ma'am.
So, on the other side, we have former Dallas Cowboys defensive lineman Russell Maryland,
Hell yeah.
who has been very actively involved in drafting.
Number 1 overall, right?
Is that right? Man, I didn't think he was a 1-1.
I think that he's one of the Herschel Walker picks, and that he was a 1-1.
Damn, you're right. You beat me on some Cowboys history. I knew he was a first rounder, but
Well, I'm a big fan.
yeah, I knew he was a U guy too, but I did not know that he was a 1-1. So, anyways, he's on the other side of this. He's drafted a lot of this plan. He's been really, really vocal and outspoken about it. He has kids, possibly even like small grandkids.
Ooh, he would not have been the 1-1 except that Rocket Ismail decided for the CFL.
Unimportant. So on one
Anytime you can talk about Rocket.
on
Sorry,
one
go
side
ahead.
we have I can't believe we have these criminals that we're in conference with here, and on the other hand you have Russell Wilson,
Maryland.
Russell Maryland, who had a quote something along the lines of, "Here on this day where yesterday many Americans were celebrating the rise from crucifixion of Christ, we have some of our brothers and sisters here on the school board who are simply trying to do the right thing, who were crucified today for their actions."
Hell yeah.
Which, when I was talking to Dan about it today, I was
That's
like,
what's up.
that is what the Democrats are missing.
Yeah, Russell Maryland for president.
Well, it's like, look, if they're
Done.
going to do this shit, you don't just be like,
Yeah.
you match it by invoking a school board member being basically the same as Christ.
Yeah. Oh, I love that.
That's the
I love everything
the
about
only
it.
rhetorical move
School board member. Yeah. No.
is to be like, yeah, this is basically the same as the whole crown, thorns, palm, you know. So that's a fun story, and just goes to show you how fucking far some people will go to protect the idyllic identity of their
It's a real laugh
You know,
to keep from crying kind of
perfect children.
situation.
yeah, it's bad.
Like-
Think of all the money, dude.
I don't want to. Yeah, I know. They could have gone to something other than trying to arrest the fucking school board member for sending a text.
Or even just like the idea, if that wouldn't have been part of it, which, you know, even if it's just the money going to the idea that we cannot possibly have our kids learn. And of course, again, it's culture war, right? They've conflated the idea that learning anything about America's history or anything about what people of color have to go through is leftist, is Marxist. And I feel like last summer, a lot of us were talking about the idea of like, hey, even those of us who went to a lot of college still learned about a ton of shit 10 years after the fact that you're like, whoa,
Yeah.
can't believe nobody told me about that. I'm not saying it changes things. Probably already arrived at that point, but I do feel like if in high
No,
school,
like a listener of ours recommended a podcast to me called Death in the West, and I've been working my way through it slowly. It's pretty good. And it hints at just like all of the labor history that we never learned.
yeah,
There are like giant fucking thing like World War I level fucking shit that's going on, you know? Like just unimaginable conflicts and explosions and terrorism in America perpetuated by Americans against other Americans. As crazy as anything else you want to name. that just never has been mentioned, that like I'm only able to like kind of gesture at it because I only heard about it like in this podcast, and like you can't fill it in for me because like the most people have just never heard about this shit.
Well, I'll tell you how it goes.
Yeah, it's because I mean the victory Victor gets to write the history, and believe it or not, the fucking Amazon Mining Corporation decided not to write the history that way.
Well, what they do is they include one flashpoint as a crumb.
Yeah.
So we get Reconstruction for the Civil War and slavery. Mm-hmm. We get Rosa Parks and maybe a smattering of Martin Luther King for not Jim Crow, but
Civil rights movement.
Civil rights movement and the things that led up to that. Like that's a hand waving possibly at voting rights and redlining. You get... I
had never heard the word redlining until that fucking Coates piece.
Yeah.
So
But
yeah, that's the kind of thing where like obviously you should be taught about that in schools, and I bet that most schools are now. Sounds like Southlake's trying.
Well,
and getting arrested for even bringing up the
exactly. idea. For labor, you get like to slightly wet the beak with the jungle.
Yeah, you hear about the jungle.
Then it's just hands dusted. It's great for workers now.
I knew the name Eugene Debs. I had heard the words AFL-CIO were uttered.
Yeah.
In the course of the history classes, but yeah, I don't know. There's a lot more there. Suffice to say,
dude, did you know that after the 2002 Western Conference Finals, that Ralph Nader wrote a letter to David Stern?
No.
So it's in this podcast, Whistleblower, which we had the dude who made it on today.
Cool.
And I'd love to have him on our show just because it's something I could talk to somebody about for a long time. But it's about Tim Donaghy.
Yeah.
And he does read the letter that Ralph Nader, who is apparently a massive sports fan, like wrote to David Stern after the Kings-Lakers series, where the Lakers were down, or the Kings were up 3-2, and Game 6 is it's largely considered one of the most clown fuck officiating shows in the history of the NBA.
Yeah.
And like Ralph Nader saw that and was like, let me dip the quill. I got something to get off my chest.
Yeah.
And I'm sending this right to the big man. Now, what came of that? Not the same thing as Ford Pinto's exploding whenever he got that to stop. Because then like the Western Conference Finals in 05.
Put a pin in that. We're coming back to Pintos.
Okay. The point is just
I've been waiting for you to say that. I've just been laying in wait, waiting for you to say the word Pinto. I have more.
I'm just saying nothing really came of it, because the Donaghy scandal ramped up from there. 05 Western Conference Finals, 06 Finals. But still, Scott Pollard still seemed pretty bummed about it whenever Tim from Whistleblower talked to him about it.
Yeah.
So anyways, no, real quick, before we get to the Pinto, I'm just honored to be sitting here with esteemed radio personality TC Fleming.
I have the perfect timbre.
I saw that. Did it say perfect or just radio?
I mean, I think it's pretty clear from the way he says it that he thinks it's perfect.
Radio ready is not really perfect. Radio ready is more like passable.
I mean, he sounds like he's pretty, complimentary of it.
So here's you.
I'm not an originalist when it comes to articles about me. I think you can infer
construction. So there's an article in the Dallas Observer about one of TC's other obscure products. Who said that? Who did we get that from?
John and Plano.
John and Plano, or other obscure products.
I don't listen to Gay Not Gay and other obscure products.
Talking about life skills. His podcast about school for troubled youth. It's a very glowing review.
It was nice.
Hope this ups the nummies.
Really appreciated it.
There's a mention here of the other podcast that he hosts.
I did whatever, if they are going to. I mean, it's the Observer. What are you going to do? Like, they like local politics?
Apparently where you honed your podcasting chops was with the terrific Loserville. Now,
Yeah.
it doesn't just say TC Fleming also hosts a terrific podcast called Loserville. It says TC Fleming, who has honed his podcasting chops with the terrific.
I didn't know how to do it until
we
then.
did 7 years of garbage. But then when Kingston shows up,
Yeah. I mean, I didn't
honing
learn.
began.
I didn't learn anything from you. You
No,
know?
of course not.
Like Philip, I mean that man's just a fountain of knowledge.
And then immediately,
Those 40 episodes have done so much more than the 759 that you and I have pumped out.
that timber, that was not radio ready.
Yeah.
Then it was honed. Then the timber was radio ready.
Past that bar.
Like, I was pretty confused that the ticket's not mentioned here.
Yeah,
But then,
like
the fact
when
that-
the headlines. I mean, like I don't know. You know, I mean, like the guys writing the article. Obviously the main point, like he knocked it out of the park on like conveying the school and like talking about what we're doing and everything. So like the fact that like you're doing like a history exam and you get a math problem wrong on it. Like whatever, dude. You understood the history, but yeah, I was confused. Why I'm a radio personality, but they don't like what radio?
Yeah,
And
it's also about your podcasting career, and there's no mention of me.
Yeah,
of the show.
Which ones have made the larger impact? Yeah,
it also. After I was like, well, and I don't really care. At some point, I might have to let
it's
that
just
dog
Banter
out.
puts food on my table. I'm still waiting for that first Loserville check.
So then I started thinking of like how they would have described us. I was like, he honed his podcasting chops on It's Just Banter,
Dolphin rape enthusiast.
a podcast where sometimes one host surprises the other with videos of trains exploding animals.
Yeah, that's basically it.
A video where they discuss whether or not it's weird to wipe back to front from underneath.
Yeah.
Or whether or not you ever stand up.
Yeah,
to
well, I
wipe.
mean, that wouldn't narrow it down. There's a lot of podcasts that go over that.
Do you want to narrate me letting her out back?
I
Both
guess.
of our kids are here, and they're playing in the backyard. So
Yeah, and the dog is struggling with the fact that she's been left out. I mean, does it make a difference if I'm narrating this? Like, maybe if I just stop talking, you all could enjoy a quiet moment of contemplation amongst yourselves. Surely there's something that you wanted to think about this week that haven't had the chance.
Rhode Island, not a road, not an island.
Yeah, that's true.
Think about it.
Yeah.
So yeah, this was disrespectful. But
You respected me just fine. That's kind of...
I've come
my
to expect
focus.
this.
Yeah, no, I mean, he's right. We're doing groundbreaking shit and everyone should listen. And for everyone out there, and I know it's most of you that I'm talking to right now, I can see the numbers. I know that a lot of you heard one and then stopped there, and I'm not happy about it. So think about going back.
You might have to tighten it up.
I'm not tightening it up.
Well, see, there's your
Not
problem.
gonna do it.
There's your problem.
You're going to have
I don't like the long podcast, man.
fucking 4 minutes of shit in a 2-hour bag.
Yeah, that's not a good plan.
It is the plan, though. It's the one we're going
It's
with.
the one that got you to the Observer.
Yeah, that's right.
Maybe we should save this for tomorrow.
I'm trying to replicate the life skills that we sat through. If you thought that was a tight 90 of content, I'm here to dissuade you of
It's an
that.
immersion project. Like you really get the feeling.
Yeah. We're the method actors of podcasting.
So this is probably good for a Thursday, but because it's not that fun. But
Well, then let's do it on Thursday.
yeah, I just feel like they're, especially after having a weekend of family here, and
We got Pinto, we got Safra.
and then also after seeing everything, the way everything played out with Greg Abbott.
Yeah, I was upset about that. Like, they sucked his dick the entire fucking season. I had to sit there and get mad every single time I tuned into a fucking baseball game all of last year. And then this fucking... I don't want to say ableist slurs against him, so I won't.
I would really appreciate it if you didn't.
This fucking dude comes in, like, to the guys that are, like, the only ones in the entire fucking state that were like, oh, he says full open? Let's do it then. We want to throw our support behind the governor, execute his vision. All of the other cities that are, like, biting at him because of this, like, that's not us, dude. We just think you're doing kick-ass. So we're going to take everything you say and we're going to do it. And then he's just like, nope, not coming. Not coming.
Yeah.
What a fucking ungrateful piece of shit.
You guys made it
In case it's not
political.
clear, I'm talking about the cutout. That was the thing that made me mad throughout baseball games last season.
Yeah.
Like,
He was too prominent. They should have put me and Dan there.
they put him in every single fucking like TV shot that they had, and he's like, not enough. You haven't done enough for me.
Because
I'm not going to throw out one fucking pitch. I'm going to wait till the day fucking. It was the day of, right?
Yeah,
It was
morning
the
of.
day that it's going to be done. He's just like, nope. Wait until then to write a letter. Fuck you. Not doing it. What a piece of shit. Just like on a personal level. Like, I don't care about the politics in this. It doesn't matter to me if Greg Abbott throws out a fucking first pitch. Like, who cares? But it's just a shitty personal thing to do.
Yeah, but the shittier it is, the bigger headlines it is. Because if he had done it a week before, it dies down. It doesn't have,
I mean, he wouldn't have done it a week before. I don't think MLB had moved the game at that point. But if like the second they move it, he announces it, then yeah, he's maximizing the impact of this. And again, like the people being hurt, like the president of the Rangers, I don't give a shit about them. Like they're the ones that put the fucking Abbott cutout behind the home plate. So fuck them too. But like, it's just, you do have to observe, like even amongst a group of people where you don't like either of them, like you can look at it and be like, you are treating him badly. And Greg Abbott was treating the leadership of the Rangers badly, and people should note that.
Well, you're not wrong, but again, he was doing it to maximize the gains and the kerosene for the culture war. Although this is like...
Because what do conservatives hate more than baseball?
Well, interestingly enough, it is a culture war topic, but it's also one of the few political things they've actually engaged on, policy-wise, the voting law. Because this is, I mean, it's almost like, holy shit, you guys like know something that's actually happening that's not a children's book or a Space Jam.
Yeah.
It's like they actually, except, of course, predictably, it's so frustrating. Like, you can literally just read. Look, the New York Times will do the work for you. You don't have to read the 98-page bill. They'll just put it in a nice little, it takes you 15 minutes to read it. And that's all you have to do to be like, oh, okay, this isn't just about showing an ID. There are 10 other stipulations that restrict the access to the ballot. And that would be an easy thing for anybody to find if they want to. I'll give you my login. But instead...
Just use incognito windows, guys.
It's just ID. Some of them have gotten smart on that.
Yeah, but not the New York Times.
Well, I give them my money, so that they can keep David Brooks or whoever on the op-ed page. But I don't know. It was just frustrating because then people are like, well, I mean, what's so hard about showing an ID? It's like, oh, man. And then they wanted to reference Colorado. Okay, do you really want us to go through this? We will. And people do, and it doesn't matter, and it drives me fucking insane. Literally insane. Where I'm just like, well, does nobody care that...
The law bums me out, and it's like not because of the... You know who I thought had a good take on this, Jake?
God damn it. I can't today.
But anyways, Matt Iglesias did say that like the effects are unclear on what exactly it's going to do in voting, but what is effectively happening is that Donald Trump said that he lost the election because Georgia stole it. The Republicans there were kind of wishy-washy about the degree to which they were going to outright support him in that direct claim. But then, once that moment had passed, quickly rallied around doing every single thing that they possibly could to make it so that if there was a future instance, that they could have more tools to be able to overturn the result of the popular election. And like, so, is it enough tools that like if we get the exact same election, it's now Trump's gonna win? I don't know. I mean, like maybe they just don't have that strong of tools, but it's what they're aiming at, right? Like the thing that they're attempting to do is to fix a problem that was clearly not a problem. Anyone who says it is obviously lying. And then like, they're attempting to fix the problem in like ways that like their goal is nefarious. So like the entire thing, it bums me the fuck out. Like it's not the kind of country I want to live in. I want my vote to be heard. I want my vote to be easy to fucking make. Like all that kind of shit.
I'll have more on this tomorrow after I see what old Maddie had to say about this.
I'll forward it to you.
For now, I'm just bummed out that apparently we're going to run out of ketchup.
I don't want to talk about ketchup.
Okay.
No, but I'm establishing that that's how I feel about the law. But I'm not thrilled about the increasing frequency of we're going to move our game. Like in my entire life, outside of the last 5 years, it's just Arizona with MLK Day. And I don't know, dude. Like,
Who cares where the game is?
Yeah, I guess, but like we're having to hear about this shit. I don't want to hear about this shit every time. Like, you know, the people who told you to keep the politics out of sports, they
got a point.
Let's hear them out. Not like entirely whatever. Like, obviously there's distinctions. It's not a broad topic. You can't keep politics out of sports or not out of sports. Like, you know, you got to interact at each level. And like, again, the MLB is doing something to counteract a measure that I am against. So I don't feel like I feel like I'm in a position to be fair here. And it's just kind of, so what? We're never going to have another All-Star game in a red state in the history of time? Like, because we're always, red states are always doing bullshit-ass stuff.
It depends. It depends on whether or not those red states want to realize that if they would like the money of the corporations that have decided that their economic interest is in not engaging with those red states, then no, they won't get to play. And you know what?
If I thought that there was a clear path to the world that we want by baseball making this stand,
the other way hasn't worked.
Yeah.
Because basically,
fine, let's give it a try.
Basically, conservative politics have dominated the business world and the corporate world, and will continue to do so for a long time. If the audience makeup of sports, and even if they're misreading this, which I happen to think they might be, that's probably a larger issue. But also the makeup of their labor force has a problem with this, then you know what? If that club is in your bag, take it out and swing it, because nothing else has worked. Otherwise, we've just been bludgeoned with policies that aren't even really that popular.
Here's something that I do feel...
They haven't been for a long time. Weed, gay marriage, I don't know. It's just...
I feel strongly convicted that there's a lot more going on in the world aside from politics. And I think that if your plane touches down in Atlanta for a nice trip to the A, and all you're thinking about is voting laws, then you're a fucking idiot. Like, open your eyes. There's a lot more going on. There's a lot of fucking wonderful people there doing wonderful things, and connecting them with them on a human level is going to bring you a lot more joy than, you know, fucking doom scrolling about some election law.
I would agree with that, but I would also say that there are places in the world that you can go to, and they're really nice places, but it's also pretty apparent, man, the people here don't really have what I have when it comes to fill in the blank. And if something in the sports world can help bring that about, then, you know, more power to them. I don't know. I think the biggest thing is that I feel like they've kind of misplayed their hand with their audience. Like, of course, the NBA is not going to have an all-star game in North Carolina whenever they're fucking around with this bathroom bill, because
I don't think the MLB judge that MLB fans are like that. I think that they know that the players, like, it's the players. And they should care about the players. I like that. I like that the players objected and that their objections were heard. That's an angle through which I look at this and I'm like, that is the right move.
Yes. I just wonder
if the fact that the players objected, I would just go to the players and be like,
chill, bro.
Listen, guys, there's a lot more going on in the world aside from politics. Georgia is not just a fucking political entity, you know? Like, there's a lot going on in every single state, and if your only way of judging it is to like look at like the fucking governor and be like, I like him or I don't like him, and that's going to determine everything I think about this state, then
please don't look at the governor.
You're a fucking dummy.
And please don't tweet me thinking I'm the governor. I beg of you.
Yeah.
I've still not resigned, by the way.
That's too bad.
So your car blew up?
Yeah, so I listened to to go back to just a series of things that Jake is not high on. You know, here's a Matt Iglesias take. Here's a regurgitation of You're Wrong About. They did a thing on the Pinto thing and added, they had everything that we had, which is why I like took a while to listen to it, because I was like, I already know all this. And then they had a mid-episode reveal that left me shocked.
Okay.
The entire Mother Jones Ford Pinto article was a fabrication placed by a disgruntled employee.
Wow.
Whenever they tried to replicate those results, like later on, like, you know, people just re-examined all of the Mother Jones stuff,
That's tough.
and it became clear that there was someone at Ford who was pissed off at Lee Iacocca, so probably someone else in, I don't know if you know this term, Jake, the C-suite.
I do. I'm a busy dude. Earlier I was talking about TROs. Kidding me?
So someone else is pissed off at Lee Iacocca and took some documents, fed them to the Mother Jones reporter, and gave like heavy narration of like, this is what this is. The Mother Jones reporter was not an executive at Ford, and so kind of took his word for what the things were saying. And the Pinto, like the entire thing, like it is true that Ford and Iacocca successfully pressured the federal government to engage in the entire, what's it called? I'm trying to remember the phrase for putting a dollar amount on a life. Do you remember that entire thing? I mean, that is one of the central things of the Pinto business.
Yeah.
Is that they like whenever the government was coming around to be like, this was irresponsible of you, or like even before then, that they had some kind of, well, if the dollar value equals this and the lives lost equals this, then we just gotta understand it or whatever.
Yeah. I just don't recall the term.
Yeah.
I just know I've heard of it a lot in the last year.
And so that's unfortunate, and
Shutdowns.
like that in my mind remains a scandal. But the specifics of what Ford knew about the Pinto beforehand, the conversations depicted in the Mother Jones article about what was going on, it's all just it's a guy. I think it's an incredible insight into how a lot of things work. Of like it's just personal relationships. Like
Somebody
you thought
was
that this was
aggrieved.
about car engineering. It's not about car engineering at all. It's about a guy who thought that Lee Iacocca was kind of rude to him in too many meetings.
Yeah. Well, I guess I was wrong too. The unsafe at any speed was about the Corvair.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
at least that one, Ralphie Boy's safe.
Yeah. No, I'm not coming for Ralph.
I know they were similar
He has my support.
and that they were both.
And the
was about
unsafe
the
at any
tires.
speed was, his tires? I thought it was seatbelts. That's an unrelated. I mean, I know we do credit Nader with seatbelts, right?
Oh yeah. Basically, just it's a broad approach to car companies should be spending more of their margins on safety.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like obviously that's correct. But it's interesting, just the ways in which the story is more complicated and in many ways less complicated. Like
That's
a lot of
story
stories
as old as time.
Yeah, a lot of stories boil down to they're not complicated at all. It's just one guy thinks the other one fucking sucks, and he's gonna get him.
Did they ever find that person?
No. To this day, no one has any idea.
Well, they're dead,
Probably,
but still.
but yeah, no, it fucking worked. That's so they got away with that, huh?
Boy, a rare positive one.
If you think that you can't fucking
Typically, this involves somebody's child being lit on fire,
pull off
or
espionage to bring down a rival, in
medical
fact, you can.
malpractice in Haiti or something.
So that's an amazing. So they got away with that, huh? So many movies, like the movie about the guy planting the Pinto evidence, would surely end in that guy being found out. And that's always received as like the realistic reaction, right? Like it's a real movie, like we're not going to just do this fucking pie in the sky Hollywood bullshit of everyone just walks away happy. That's not how life works. Well, that's fucking bullshit. Life does work that way. That guy fucking got Iacocca, chuckled about it to himself for the rest of his life, and died happy.
Yeah, I mean, think about it this way. I know they did try to make a movie about this because I think I watched like half of it and it was trash. But like, imagine if someone pitched the story of Ted Kennedy and Chappaquiddick, and everything happened, but then at the end of the movie, he was just like elected 5, 6, 7 more times, and lived like a distinguished, noble life after everyone knew.
So wait. Did he cover it up and no one found out?
Yeah, no, everyone knew. I mean, he
Well, then
covered
surely he
Trump.
didn't get elected again.
Like that would never like if you pitched that, you'd be like, "What kind of fucking sicko are you?"
I mean, in the Chappaquiddick movie, like it is like the stakes that they present. They're like, and then he never got to be president.
It's like, oh no, He was just
Yeah. Okay.
a senior senator. From,
Yeah, he
from,
ruled the Senate for the next rest of his life. So
Do you think that shit?
I
Ever,
could live with it. I bet.
like, I think about this all the time. Like, do you think anybody? Who's he? Is he? He's always tied to like McCain, right?
Who? Kennedy?
Yeah, that they would sit down at the end of a hard day and have a
Yeah.
scotch together. And okay, so
I think
here's
there's
my
someone
thing.
else, but yeah.
Like, if something happened to your friend, and I guess that's a pretty general way to describe you driving a
Yeah.
something happened to his doing
If
a lot
your
of lifting
negligence
there.
led to the death of a young woman,
Right. So you could go a lot lower on the scale of things that if you saw a buddy and you knew that it happened to him, there's a line at which you would say something or not say something. But I feel like that is one where you would definitely say something.
I would
And I
hope
just
that-
wonder how often his colleagues, after like a couple icebreaker talk, maybe they each grab a beer and they're like, so, fuck happened with that girl, man?
If I grabbed a beer with Ted Kennedy, I would probably be like, "Hey, are you sure about that?
Yeah.
Haven't the consequences piled up enough?
Yeah. Like,
For what would need to happen for you to go clean? 10 bodies?
yeah. And
One wasn't enough?
the dude was just drinking constantly.
And that was
So, I
how
mean,
it's presented. Like whenever it's like, he reached across the aisle. He would go have drinks with Republican senators.
And it
Something
just-
that clearly wasn't problematic because he never killed a woman while drinking.
Yeah. It's like, that one's very odd to me. I don't even remember
We
how
should
he's
cancel Ted Kennedy, dude. Let's go
Mother
get him.
Jones. Hey, they get away in the Oceans movies. It's tight.
They do get away with the Ocean's movies, but I have a second, so they got away with that, huh?
Yeah, cool.
Edmund Safra is not the one who got away with that, huh? Edmund Safra was a banker. He founded the Republic National Bank of New York, I think is the name of it.
I've heard the name.
And yeah, he at the time of his death was possibly the most successful banker going at the time. He had, more money than, like, if you add up the money, the total assets held by everyone you've ever met in your entire life, like maybe even just like walked by on the street, I think he's probably still more. And was certainly a guy who, he was in that gray zone that we all know so well, where you're sure of two things. You're absolutely sure that if you were able to prove everything he did in his life, that you would be able to prove some criminal shit. Like that he's doing banking for people who aren't allowed by the government to bank, mobsters, etc. And then the second thing you're sure of is that you will never be able to prove that. Like, the man is just too fucking smart. Like, he's cutting edge. He's so far above and beyond what any government's going to ever have a hope of catching.
Probably got people on the hook too.
Yeah, who knows,
That's
dude?
a big part of it.
And so
I'm gonna kill my neighbor's dog, bro.
your neighbor's dog is, I mean, I don't think you're going to have to worry about it. That dog's going to get hit by a car in the next 5 minutes.
It's out there all the time,
Yeah.
so maybe not. I mean, he's flirting with disaster.
But yeah, so he lived in he had places all over. There was a house on the French Riviera, like the most respected house on the entire, now the dog's peeing on your
Just
tree.
pissing on the tree,
No
bro.
respect.
I saw him piss on my neighbor's car last night, other neighbor, and I'm like, you know what? If we all teamed up, we could probably get this thing taken care of.
Yeah.
Oops, I'm sorry, I didn't see it there.
But yeah,
I've
so
said too much.
he's at the French Riviera house, becomes concerned for his safety, moves to a penthouse on top of his bank in Monaco.
Oh, bank in Monaco.
Yeah. So he does a
Cooking
lot
with
of
gas.
business in Monaco, and in addition to like the fucking vault, he's got a similarly vaulted penthouse, constantly guarded by former IDF members.
Why are they always in
I know, dude.
all of these stories?
I know. for some reason, like that, now it's my car, dude. That dog is pissing on my vehicle. I can see it.
I told you, dude. So if I'm just saying, like, if on the way out here, see, they may look at me like, oh, you've got some priors. Or your neighbor said you've yelled at this dog before. But if you casually looked down at your phone when leaving,
I mean, I had just gotten a text.
yeah, I'm not saying anything. I may send that text just to get this done. Because now he's out in the fucking intersection, bro.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, look, he's all like, I don't know.
We might not have to worry about this. But yeah, so he's chilling in the Monaco suite for whatever reason. You know, this is among, like, I'm going to give you a bunch of fishy details. One of them is that night, despite the fact that he had the IDF guards constantly, and like the people who visited him would be like, Jesus, dude, I'm a rich guy. I don't want to fucking hang out with people who have machine guns out. For whatever reason, he dismissed the IDF dudes that night. And a fire started in his place. There was reports at the time that 2 men went in, stabbed his nurse. He's like 80, and he has Parkinson's, so he's got constant medical care. They stab his nurse. He locks himself in the bathroom, and they start a fire to try and get him out of the bathroom. And he just won't come out. He dies in the bathroom of smoke inhalation.
Fishy at best. Those 3 details.
I mean, he definitely died of smoke inhalation. The fire happened. He was found in the bathroom. All that's easy enough. After those reports that it was 2 men breaking in and like looking to kill him, the Monaco authorities come out, and it's important to understand the dynamics here of Monaco is a safe place for the rich. Mm-hmm. There are, the police per capita is off the charts. It exists. The point of the fucking state is to attract rich people and make them feel like they can do anything they want there and be secure and, whatever. So they come out and they're like, we figured it out, guys. We examined the wounds on this nurse. We put everything together. He actually stabbed himself.
Oh, Elliot Smith.
Started a fire in hopes of being able to put it out. Like that he had this entire thing where he was going to stage a break-in and a fire. He was going to put out the fire, be like, look at my stab wounds. And Mr. Safra, richest man alive, aren't you grateful for my service? And they also say something about like he was having mental problems.
Wait,
at
so
the
the nurse
time.
is a male?
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was very sexist.
I mean, there was a female nurse in there with him, like trapped in the bathroom, who also died. But yeah, the nurse. There's a team of nurses, and one of them stabbed himself.
Okay.
Started a fire, and then the fire got away from him, and he wasn't able to put it out.
He thought he was going to be able to cash in for big bucks as a hero.
That's what they're saying.
Okay.
That was like the
a little flimsy,
official statement from prosecutors. I'm basing all this on a Vanity Fair article written by Dominic Dunn. You remember Dominic Dunn? He did some writing about the OJ trial.
I know the name.
Big swinging dick for Vanity Fair in the 90s.
Their parties suck.
I've heard that. Yeah.
They used to be great.
Sissy Graydon Carter has really fallen off.
They used to be great. Now I heard they were dead. People were falling asleep.
Mm-hmm. Got to wake them up, shake them. And yeah, so Dunn starts poking around about this. He goes and tracks down the wife of the male nurse who lives near Dunn in Connecticut, and talks to her, and she's like, yeah, this whole thing about wanting to work for Safra further and like further ingratiate himself to him, Ted was planning to come back. Ted Maher is the guy, the name of the nurse. And she's like, yeah, Ted was planning to come back. Like, he wasn't trying to ingratiate himself. And here's the big thing. The confession that he signed that the prosecutors are basing all this off of, like the confession they're reading from when they're explaining what happened, that was signed after the wife had gotten there, and they took all their passports. Like, the second she arrived, they were like, oh, yeah, can I see that custom check? Okay, that's actually mine now. I'm going to pocket that. And you're never fucking leaving Monaco again unless your boy Ted here signs this shit. And the thing that he signed was in French. Ted don't speak French.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, classic rock in a hard place here. But I don't know, man. I mean, obviously, if you're dealing with somebody who's got IDF guards, but I'd also like some questions for them. Like, guards just leave on the night he happens to be murdered. I feel like there was a payment situation there.
The article is very interesting because there's no answers. It's just some of the most interesting questions I've ever come across.
And just like the idea that, okay, so my wife can't leave the country if I don't confess, but then so I'm going to sign something. What do you think it says if they won't let her leave unless you sign it? I got a pretty good idea.
I mean, he holds out for a couple days.
I think he probably, I mean, unless they're, I don't know what sort of torture or kicking the shit out of him, the Monaconians.
Monaconians, yeah. Monacans
are willing to put you through, but I could last more than a couple days if it's just you're in jail. Let me get a lawyer. I have no idea. I don't know how these legal systems work, but
so as Dunn's
I'd look into her
reporting this out. The wife,
yeah,
okay.
She's like, just get me out of here. Sign this thing.
There's a number of things where he's like, here's something to think about. I don't know what to tell you about this. I can just tell you what I've heard. He mentions a couple times that more or less every person in Monaco who has lips and a working esophagus told him that 2 bullets were found in Safra's body. That's nowhere in the police report or the medical examiner's report or anything like that. And then we turn back to the whole business of what kind of dealings Safra was involved in. He ran money for the Russian mafia. And at some point, about a year before this, he flipped on the Russian mafia. He cooperated with an investigation into their finances.
I don't really need to hear anything else.
And there was plenty in there about, Russian mafia sources, like, being heard on, like, overheard at restaurants being like, he's a dead man, that kind of shit. But old Ted over here, just, like, on the basis of the conviction, or on the basis of the confession, got convicted. He spent 10 years in a Monaco prison. Off of the idea that Monaco doesn't want itself to be seen as the kind of place where Russian mafia people can carry out a hit.
Well, 10 years is not that bad for murdering a guy with that much money. And 2, when I got arrested in Bedford...
I'm excited to see how this connects. Go on.
Because when I got arrested in Fort Worth, it was just straight up...
What was the Bedford arrest?
It was bad. I basically got my food at a Whataburger and was across the street from my buddy's apartment and just reclined my car and fell asleep.
Okay, yeah.
Car was off, and I thought that meant, all right, I can chill here until I feel like I can cross that street right there. Mm-hmm. Which means obviously that's one of the few times, and I've done a lot of fucked up, really bad
you're
stuff.
Like 20 at this point.
I was like 22.
Yeah, it had to be over 21 because you wouldn't have drank alcohol before the age of 21.
Definitely not. But yeah, I definitely ate my food and thought, all right, well, let's just stay here. And they could have given me a DUI, honestly. I didn't know that's how that worked, but they were cool about it. Didn't give me a PI. The Fort Worth one, obviously, I didn't even get charged. But the point of this is, the Fort Worth one was just like a drunk tank. You don't get any food in there because they're going to let you out in a couple hours. The other one was just a smaller municipality, and they gave us I don't even know they sold these, but it's like the Jimmy Dean sausage sandwich without the bread. It's just piece of sausage.
Oh, no. Okay.
They just heat it up and hand it to you.
Were you worried about your carbs?
Yeah, that's pretty much what it was. I was keto in a municipal jail.
Yeah.
But if you talk to people who have been to jail, in a city jail over in UP or in Highland Park.
Uh-huh.
And I'm not going to name any names, but I've heard from more than just that person, you might get a fucking piping hot McGriddle.
That's delicious.
You might get a McMuffin with double eggs. I don't know. It's pretty much your imagination. Mm-hmm. So like 10 years in Monaco in jail, like it can't be like Leavenworth.
Yeah. I bet that their jails are
Egg McMuffins.
Yeah.
So look, I don't know. I don't know
what can the
anything.
chef get for you?
I don't know anything. Yeah, exactly. I don't know anything about Monaco other than the banking thing, and that like it.
You got the Grand Prix.
It gins up the GDP stats every time.
Yeah,
Like that's not fair.
I am gonna go there. It sounds fucking tight. I would like to visit.
I don't know anything about it.
I mean, the south of France in general seems like most people.
I don't know if I ever want to go back to France.
I'd go back to
I kind of
France.
had enough of their shit, man.
I mean, look at how good
I
the
want to go to
redneck Riviera is.
chill countries, you know?
I think that France is somewhat chill at times. Depends. It's a big country. I'm sure there's chill
not that
parts
big.
of it. It's pretty big. It's as big as Texas.
Well, that is a pretty good.
You have to agree Texas is big.
Not only they got away with it, but the other guy, someone actually did the
Yeah,
bid.
so, I mean, the way I presented this, the Russian mafia thing seems obvious enough, but, like, I don't know that that's an accurate portrayal. The thing that you can... Here's the things I'm certain of. Ted Maher was not involved in any kind of direct way. Ted Maher did not intend to kill Edmund Safra. Here's the second thing I'm sure of. Someone else did. Here's the third thing I'm sure of. We do not know, and it sure doesn't seem likely that we ever will, who did it. So,
And also, let me
whenever
tell you
someone
this.
tells you can't assassinate the richest man on the face of the planet, they're wrong.
The challenge. You know, two things that would be really hard. Stabbing yourself twice and living. Mm-hmm. And set that aside for a second. And then starting a fire to stage a fire and putting it out. But I can tell you what would be even harder.
Trying to go 2 for 2.
That's all right, I've completed the stabbing.
All right, what do I do next?
Now, if I can only light this penthouse on, you're coughing up blood.
Yeah.
You're trying to
Oh,
apply.
I think I hit a lung.
Trying to apply pressure, maybe a
I mean, he's a
tourniquet.
nurse.
Yeah, but still, man. And now you're kind of one-handing the gas,
And the whole thing of how he got there is
that doesn't play with me.
Maher was like working at a hospital in New York, and someone there left their camera, and he went and like got the film developed and figures out whose camera it was and delivered it to him, and they were like, "Oh my God, this is the nicest guy on earth. How can I ever repay you?" I know,
Payroll, bitch.
I have a fucking rich uncle who needs a nurse. You're a nurse.
The last thing I'll leave you with here, I've been laughing about. I try to have an Easter baskets every week, and right now it's this Newsweek story about Silicon Valley and Blood Boys.
Okay.
I just
I
don't
haven't
want to know.
seen it. Yeah, no, I also don't.
And my other is I've been laughing about this all week, and this week it's Ashley Feinberg's tweet about the Space Jam trailer.
I don't think I've seen it. Let me know.
It was pretty much just because, like, are you familiar? Have you seen the trailer?
No. I mean, I saw people complaining about it.
I don't have any complaints about it.
I know the
I think it looks kind of cool.
the Clockwork Orange guys are in it.
Yeah, that's a weird bit, but you're in the serververse, so you've got everything that Disney owns. LeBron has to maneuver through. But here's the thing: the alien.
That doesn't sound like space.
Well, it's kind of space. But what is
Cyberspace.
space? Cyberspace. There you go. Do some cyber sex, cybering, if you will. LeBron's son is kidnapped. Okay, he gets on an elevator. This elevator's a portal. He ends up in the serververse. LeBron chasing him down ends up there too, and he has to beat this squad assembled by Don Cheadle, who's some sort of omnipotent.
It's actually Don Cheadle?
neural network god. Yes, it's the face of Don Cheadle.
Okay.
But so the plot of the movie is LeBron and the Toon Squad have to beat. It's the same plot. Have to beat this assembled array of unbeatable figures to get his son back. Peel like one layer off this, and it's pretty fucking dark, actually. Like in the case of Space Jam, wasn't it that like Michael was never going to get to go back, and like the NBA players would never get their powers back, or
Yeah.
So in this case, we have an active kidnapping situation. We have an Amber Alert in the serververse.
It sounds like the screenwriters are better.
So
They've created some stakes.
I think her tweet said something to the effect of, like, I would pay anything to see this exact movie promoted the exact same way with the exact same plot up until the very end, and he just loses, and his son is kidnapped forever. It's basically, and I started thinking, I'm like, it's kind of like you were saying about the ending of movies earlier. Like, man, she's right. Like, let's make that movie. Let's have LeBron teach a lesson about, like, look,
Hey, there's
sometimes
limits.
things don't always go your
physically.
way, and
Yeah.
sometimes people get kidnapped. And yeah, there's no way you'll find this tweet. She tweets way too much to be able to. This was like 5 days ago.
I think she tweets an appropriate amount. Good tweets.
They're good tweets, but I mean, there's also just a lot of them.
Yeah.
There's a lot of them. So maybe tomorrow we'll break down Matt Gaetz on Tucker Carlson.
I'd like to.
But that's all I have for this week.
That's it for tonight. The high school special is next, so until tomorrow, for everyone who's been a part of this one,
I'm TC and Jake.
we do thank you for watching. Good night.